Hey and hello guys. Today we are going to see some tutorial on how to set up an EDI-AS2 agreement in our new EDI portal, and there will be a very detailed video that will be coming out soon. So after that video, the only thing that I wanted to add and things that I wanted to show you guys, which are not covered in this video, will be in this video that I'm going to make today, and it will be like split into multiple parts. So initially, I want to talk to you about some troubleshooting things that you initially see when you start the portal. So let's start with logging in. Let me open a new browser and then go to EDI.appfabriclabs.com. So I go into this website, which is the portal that name that you will get, and I will be asked to enter my live credentials. So I log in with the chibichatlive.com. My name is Chibi, by the way, and I have to give my password, so which I can't tell you. So I give my password and I log in. So as soon as I log in, I don't hit the registration page because I have already created a lot of things in this service provider. And the key thing that I wanted to talk to you about is that there is an error that you will get when you create a service provider immediately after you create your namespace in portal.appfabrics.com. The only solution for that is you have to wait. So you have to wait for some time so that the system recognizes the namespace that you created, and then even if it comes as active state in the portal, like so, I will show you that. Come on, portal. Yes, good boy. So this is the portal where you create your namespaces, which is the portal.appfabric.com, and I created two namespaces. This is a sample namespace. This is the namespace that I am using, that service provider that I showed you. And the key thing that I want to tell you is, even if the state is active, give it like at least 15 or 20 minutes before using the namespace after it turned active. Otherwise, you will get service provider registration failed, no reason specified. So that is something that I wanted to tell you and was not covered in any video. So this is one troubleshooting tip, and that's that. Now let's go to the agreement settings and all those things. So as you can see, I have two partners, Contoso and Fabricam. Contoso has one profile. This is the partner view, and you can see that the agreement tab is there in the partner view as well, and it shows the agreement that this partner is participating in, and there's a settings page where you can see all the settings of this partner, Contoso. And let's go to the profile tab, and you can see the default profile that is created, which is the Contoso profile. I click the Contoso profile, and you can see these two identities that I added in my AS2 agreement and my external agreement to come up here, and you will see how to create this in a detailed video before, and I'm just giving you an overview of what I have created, and you should be able to see the certificate that I uploaded some time back, which is a private certificate, which you can see by seeing the has private key being true, meaning that this certificate that I uploaded for Contoso is a private certificate. And similarly, you will see for Fabricam, that is the agreement, which is because the agreement is between Contoso and Fabricam, you see the same data, one for AS2, one for X12, and this is the settings for Fabricam, and you can see there is one default profile in Fabricam. I click the profile and I go to the profile settings page, and you can see that there are two identities for Fabricam as well, and there is a certificate which is has private key equal to false, meaning that this certificate is a public certificate which corresponds to Fabricam. And the thing that I used to tell in the videos is that the Contoso is a managed partner. You can see by managed equal to true. Fabricam is not a managed partner. You can see by managed equal to false. The reason behind it is Contoso is the SMB, which is being managed by the service provider, and Fabricam is the enterprise, which is not managed by the service provider, so hence this setting. So let's go on to agreements, and I already have created AS2 simple and X12 simple. Now what I'm going to do is that let me create another set of agreements for these two partners to test out the AS2 send scenario with relay service. So this is a video especially dedicated to this relay service, because in order to test AS2 send scenario, you were needing a website that is exposed to the world, like it is a website accessible across the world. So when we tested this scenario, like this AS2 simple, we used a website that is accessible across the world, and which is a global IP, and we were able to send the message to it, and we were able to see the message from that website. So now what we are going to do is a different scenario where we will configure the AS2 send to a relay service that we have hosted. So we can see that the relay service being hosted here. Let me open that. Yeah. So this is the relay service that has been hosted, which is where is that relay service? So I actually closed that relay service, unfortunately. Let me try to open that relay service again. Like, let's go. Go to relay service. We'll see that in a bit. Let's do that later. Now let's go to these. We'll start a relay service when we want to send a message, and then we will do that proceedings. So let's start by creating an agreement. So let's click create agreement in AS2. Say AS2 over relay, meaning AS2 relay, we can say. So I'm just saying relay because we are going to use a relay service. It's not like AS2 will work on relay or something. AS2 is AS2. It will always work on. It'll always work only on pure HTTP basis. So do not confuse the name with that. This is just to indicate that this AS2 agreement will be talking to a relay service that we are going to host, and not a globally accessible website. So I am going to give receive 2 because we have already gave receive 1 for the previous one, and I'm going to say sign the message, always sign verify the message that you are receiving, decrypt the message that you are receiving, and override whatever the agreement setting says with those in the AS2 message. We have to set these two settings because please read this context, which talks about why these settings are mandatory even when you set the override receive setting, override receive side agreement settings with those in the incoming AS2 message checkbox. Now I go to acknowledgements. I say send AS2 message, send, and send async MDN. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the relay for, I'm going to create a relay for async MDN, as well as I'm going to create a relay for the send message as well. So let's see, let's start a command prompt. Let's go to relay service which I built. So the two things that you can notice here is that this is a sample relay receive service, which you can see from let me go there, samples, tools, relay receive service, receiver service. So relay receiver service is a service that the pipeline team uses to receive a message by hosting a relay. So there is a code change that I made in this code, which is binding.security mode equal to none, and binding.security.relay client authentication type equal to none. What I am saying by making this code change is that the message that is coming to this relay doesn't need to have any ACS authentication at all, and it doesn't need to have a valid SSL line. That is what I am trying to say by setting these two settings to none. So you need to make this change manually in your relay receiver service, build it, right click build, and now you run this relay receiver service. So I go here, go to open this in a new browser, go to bin, debug, copy this whole location, and I go to my PowerShell, cd paste, and now I actually am in that folder. Now I will start a relay service with namespace Sibionos. I have to show you the key because there are a lot of places the key will be present. So this video will become very, if I pause the video, start the video again and again, it will be very hectic for me as well as for you. So I'm going to this is an unexpected error. So because this namespace didn't get created, that is very interesting. So we'll see what happens there. So let's start another namespace. Let's pick out this namespace. It says this also doesn't create it. Okay, maybe I have to refresh this portal. Let's see what happens. So when something doesn't work in Silverlight, it's better to just refresh and try again, because there could be some async problems. So I clicked it again. Now let's go here. Let's go to Sibionos, default key view, and there it is. So another troubleshooting tip is that when you encounter any issues with the portal, just hit refresh. So there is no harm in it. You have and it will set everything back to you in a state that is more usable. So yes, these things are in the early stages. We will implement proper refreshes like the management portal soon, but for now, please bear with us, and if there is any problem in the portal, just hit refresh. Now I just copied the key. Don't try to use this key. I'm going to delete the namespace anyway. So then let's give the relative path. So relative address. So I'm going to name this as AS2 receive 1. And it says that, oh, I have to give what type it is. It's a single, it's a one-way relay. So I say yes. And this is starting the relay service. And it is done. And you can see that it has created a relay service here, this is the URL where we are going to receive. This is going to receive. So this will be our send URL. This is where we will send the message to. So now what we will do, we will create another guy. We'll just copy paste this guy. Copy. Go to this guy. Home CD, enter. And go to this guy again. Copy this full thing to here. Right click, enter, space. Now I give AS2 async 1. So this is where we will receive the async MDN. So I start the relay for here. Let's see what happens. Cool. Now I copy this guy. This is the async URL that I want. Then I go back to the portal that I was trying to configure, and I copy paste this guy. So you see only this because this is a multi-line error bug that we have right now, and it will be fixed in the coming releases. So bear with us. So now I pasted that value. Now let me go to the send side, and I will paste the other value which we created, which is the receive 1, which I will type itself here. Receive 1. Let me verify that. It is a receive 1 indeed. AS2 receive 1, that is the value. Cool. So now let's go to the settings. I will enable everything. I will enable the certificate also. We'll talk about this in other videos in more detail, but for now let's just see what these values do. These are just certificates that are actually taken from the profile which we configured, and I'm just saying that the message that is going to be coming out of the AS2 send will be a signed, encrypted and compressed message, and which will ask for an MDN which is signed, and it should be an async MDN sent to the URL which is the receive URL that we have created here, which is being populated automatically by this. So this decision of having the async MDN async URL to be the receive URL is to keep all the messages within our system, so that when reconciliation comes into picture, we don't have to worry about messages not being reconciled at all. So this is a decision that we have taken, and we require your feedback if you need it to be changed or configurable. So do think about it and let us know. and receive settings, send settings, both are done, and all of them are being configured properly. And this is the URL that the AS2 send after the processing of X12 will send to, and these are all the settings it will take into consideration on doing the AS2 processing. So let's deploy this agreement, and it is taking some time. Give it some time and it will be done. So congratulations message comes, that means everything has been done okay. And let's go to an agreements tab and see that AS2 has 2 agreements. Good. Now let's go to X12. Now let's create an X12 agreement. So we will create X12 relay. Again, the name symbolizes that we are using relay in this agreement set, and we will I will give a description as using a relay for receiving the message from send and async MDN. Now I select console and I go to Fabricam, select Fabricam, I hit tab twice and I come to qualifier, I select 1, I give 1 2 3 4 5 6. I can't give 7 because it's already been used, so I'll give 6. I get 1 and I sent 7 6 5 4 3 2 2, and then I say continue. So the receive we can't test because the message that is given in the sample only works with qualifier being 1 and value being 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and this Fabricam's qualifier being 1 and 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. So the receive message, which is the signed compressed encrypt message .as2 that we find in the AS2 receive side input message folder, will not work for this scenario, for receive side at least. But let's see in the send side what happens. So continue, hit continue, and now we have the receive settings tab and the send settings tab. So in the receive settings tabs, you can see the transport page. We'll select AS2 and we select the AS2 relay agreement here, and now the AS2 relay settings that for the receive side is being taken as the transport settings. And let's go to protocol. Here, as I have already uploaded the schema, I just need to select the schema here, and let's go to the route and I say success for success route endpoint and failure for failure route endpoint, meaning HTTP blah blah success, the message will be sent when everything happens properly in the receive side. So now let's go to the send side settings, and I see input URL, I don't need to change anything. Transport, I'm not giving any transport, I'm just need to select the uploaded schema in the schema section of the protocol settings. Go to transport and I select AS2, and I select the second AS2 agreement, AS2 relay here. And it takes some time, we need to wait for it to complete, and the whole resolution has been done. So here one more thing to note is that there's a failure endpoint for the send side as well. So we are giving the failure endpoint for send side as failure, and we move on. So these are all the settings that you need to set for the X12 agreement to be a valid X12 agreement. You start with transport, select the AS2 transport, go to protocols, select the schema. If not found, upload the schema. It will automatically add a row when you upload a schema. Then you go to then you in the receive side settings, you go to route, you give the route success route endpoint, you give the failure route endpoint, then the whole receive side is done. Now you move on to send side settings, and where you need to just go to protocol settings, select the schema that you have uploaded. Now move to transport and you select the AS2 transport type, and then you select the AS2 agreement which you wanted configuration to be used in the transport. So now we have selected AS2 relay on both the receive settings and the send settings, and I now say deploy agreement. So now it will take some time. Let it go. Let it do whatever it takes. And done. So deploy of agreement has been done properly. Now let's see what happens. So deployment is done, and let me go to agreement to see if that has come up. Yes, so agreement X12 shows 2 agreements, and there we have our X12 relay. So now what we want to do is try to send a message to the X12 settings and see if X12 AS2 send side, and see if the message gets processed for and sent back to our relay that we have hosted. So I'll stop the video and we will have another video for the execution of this scenario. Thank you.